Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in to another awful movie review. Well, I'm still a little bit sick. Breathing hurts, talking hurts, in fact my whole existence was hurting. And just when I started to feel a little bit better, my immune system just collapsed after watching this garbage film. Sometimes the lore and the story surrounding a movie is more interesting than the movie itself, and it's the case with Pulgasari, a Kaiju monster movie from North Korea of all places. In an attempt to imitate the Japanese monster movies, the North Korean regime decided to make a film of their own, and well, it's painfully awful. But just before we get going, if there's a bad movie you would like me to review, just leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts and feelings on Pulgasari. If I chose this film to be featured on my channel, then you know it's because this is an awful movie. But at the same time, I can't expect that much from a country where people were literally eating bark off trees at one point. I can't also blame the maker for not putting in all the time and effort and heart into this film, because the director Shin Sang-ok was a South Korean filmmaker who was literally kidnapped by North Korean intelligence agencies and forced to make propaganda movies. Pulgasari would be his very last North Korean production before the guy managed to escape to the United States. So in this weird mess of a film, the story takes place during the medieval era, where the people of a rural village are badly treated by the kingdom. Just before he dies, a blacksmith in the village manages to use the rice from his meal to make a small statue of a folkloric Korean creature called Pulgasari. How the hell he ever managed to make an actual figure in black out of a bunch of rice, I will never know. He asks the gods that Pulgasari be brought to life and liberate the people from the oppressors. His wish was granted and a big battle ensues. Of course, this being a movie from one, if not the most oppressive authoritarian regime on earth, director Sang-ok was forced to make films that made the communist government look good. This is a metaphor on the effects of unchecked capitalism and the power of the collective. So yeah, this is basically 1 hour and 35 minutes of garbage propaganda disguised as a monster movie, and not even a good one. At least if it was well done, I would let it slide, but Pulgasari does the exact opposite. Even though I had to watch the movie in subtitles, since I did not have a clue as to what the actors were saying, I could still notice how wooden and cartoonish the acting was. It was just so silly and over the top. I had a hard time not finding it unbearable. And what is it with this guy's spear? I mean, the guy is literally making the soldiers do backflips before they hit the ground and die. I found the music choices to be pretty weird. Like, why would you play this crappy 80s synth tune in a movie that's supposedly taken place during the medieval era? Not only did I find it annoying to listen to, but it also feels out of place. It's like if I made a movie, I don't know, on the Vikings of Scandinavia, and I decided to put some bluegrass music on top. And what about Pulgasari himself? Is he any good? He's okay. There's not a lot to add here. He just looks like countless other cheesy kaiju monsters. In fact, when he first appears, the effects were actually pretty impressive in my opinion. But as Pulgasari becomes a giant monster, his facial and bodily movement just look more awkward and restricted. In the end, he just wound up looking very stiff and silly looking. But he's better than the rest of the effects, which are truly an insult to cinema. Just take a moment to look at these shots. Amateurish to say the very least. And then there was the least convincing drop of bloodshot I've ever seen in a movie. The effects were provided by the special effects crew by Toho in Japan. The group was actually tricked into believing they were going to make a movie in China. Really, it's unbelievable when you think of all the strings they had to pull, all the efforts and the crimes they had to commit in order to make this movie, which in the end smells like crap. It really does. It's just a very boring kaiju ripoff. It's no fun at all. The characters have no personality to them. The cinematography looks cheap as hell, and the continuity also sucks. Basically, this whole film is Pulgasari being brought to life. The king's army tries to invent a way of killing him off. Someone brings him back to life again, and the cycle continues several times, before Pulgasari has finally had enough and decides to stomp the shit out of those people. So to finish this review, Pulgasari was never officially released in most parts of the world. Well, maybe it's because people knew this film sucked and didn't want to watch it. I knew I wouldn't want to. What an awful movie.